This edition of My Thoughts Monday is brought to you by Valve Performance, the team behind the Nordboard, Force Decks, the Groin Bar, and Human Track. Guys, the most important ability for all of our athletes is availability, and that's the absolute goal of Valve Performance, is to provide solutions to performance professionals so that we can get the right information to make the right decision at the right time for the betterment of the athletes that we get to work with. To do this, guys, they have a wide range of validated products that focus on usability, and having being founded by the School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences at the Queensland University of Technology, they're extremely evidence-based and they're beyond transparent. I can tell you that our time using the Nordboard and being involved with Force Decks, we have been introduced to so many amazing people that have truly helped us become better coaches, have a better understanding, not just of the technology, but also what we're doing with our athletes. So make sure you hop over to valveperformance.com today to make sure you check out what they got. It's going to make you better and to do better by your athletes. The world of strength and conditioning is filled with some awesome practitioners who are always trying to evolve and continue to grow professionally throughout their career. The problem with many of us, though, is finding a new outlet, a new way, and a new perspective on the questions that we may have, whether it be programming, whether it be situational with dealing with coaches, or whether it be career advice. Because all too often what happens is we get stuck in with the same group of friends and the same group of colleagues that we reach out to for advice repeatedly over and over again. But what we should really be looking for is different perspectives, different people who have been through different situations who can help us make better decisions both for ourselves and our athletes. And one awesome place to start with that is the forums in the Strength Coach Network. In the forums in the Strength Coach Network, you'll be able to reach out and get feedback, input, and advice from coaches from all over the world, from everything from career advice to training modalities to programming. There's people there just for the same reason as you are, to try to get better, to learn, to share information, and to grow the field of strength and conditioning. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS. That's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS to dive into all that great content today and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Jay DeMayo coming at you with this week's edition of My Thoughts Monday. You know, and as we continue down this new norm of ours during this pandemic, and it's this unique time, it has led to some really interesting, almost silver linings in the coaching world. And I think that one I'd really like to touch upon today, it has been talked about quite a bit, you know, not just in the live conversations that I've been lucky to be able to host, but, you know, in a lot of these free webinars or these open discussions that people are having that have been super to listen to. They've really been a driving force to a lot of people kind of taking a step back and thinking a little better about how we can do things. You know, and one thing that we've talked quite a bit about in those, and I think that it's really neat to hear, is that we are going to be put into a new, unique challenge of having an actual off-season. You know, when people hear me say that, I'm assuming that the first thing that they go to is, well, yeah, college basketball. Because of how the rules have been stated for the last, it's like 6 or 8 years, these young people have never had a time away from playing, right? They've always had individuals at the same time when we were doing our physical preparation, or practice or whatever. So it was never technically a quote unquote off season. But, you know, I also get the opportunity to work in swimming and diving, and it's very similar, right? You know, that those young people will train and compete for their conference championship and then hopefully national championship meets, and then they almost start right away back into preparation for whatever their long course meet is going to be. You know, you can look at baseball. You know, the baseball season ends and these kids are all going out and playing in a wood bat league. Or soccer, they play in the fall, they play in the spring, and then they play on a summer league team, right? So there's a vast array of these teams that don't ever really have time away from the game. Now, we can talk till the cows come home about whether that's going to be good, bad, or indifferent, how, you know, maybe they're rested, maybe they're recovered, maybe all of those things that we've heard people talk about, we don't know yet, right? We're all just speculating when it comes to that. We're hoping that it's great because you would assume that allowing them to recover would be a positive thing. But the other thing that this has put us in a situation to look at now is people have been doing a great job talking about monitoring and evaluating and making sure that people are taken care of, and that the young people, when they come back on campus, we basically don't just, pin the gas pedal and, wear these kids out and then lead to negative consequences down the road. Now, as awesome as that is to hear, as important as I think that is, one, it should be something we have been doing. And there are a lot of extenuating circumstances that could keep us from doing that, right? We may, one, not have the ability. We may not have the staffing. We may not have the support of sports medicine or the coaching staff, all of those things, or administration. Like, I get it, I got it, it's okay. But we would all agree that this is a direction that we need to be going. And for that, I think that that's awesome. But I also think that it also allows us to do something that we say we do. And it's pretty cool that we're now going to have the opportunity to do it. And that is to actually design an off-season physical preparation program for these young people, so we are able to build them and build their resilience and build their general qualities and fill these buckets like we haven't been able to do before. Now, there are some extreme circumstances and some exceptional limitations to what we're going to be able to do. But I was really lucky to have a conversation with Henk Krisenhoff a few weeks back, and what he said was the only challenge we're going to have is the creativity of the coach, and we're going to find out who has the highest levels of creativity. And while I completely agree with that, I think that it also is going to come down to how well do we know what our athletes do in their sport? And then how well do we understand how we are able to reverse engineer that? And I think that one of the things that we talk about a lot when we're talking about things with CVASPs is these ideas of building from extensive to intensive and how progressions need to move forward. And while there are some people who talk about things and you can just basically throw people to the fire and put them into different situations and allow them to figure them out for themselves, I feel that this time right now is time where we can really take a big step back and start to fill and build the general qualities that are required in order to be able to participate well in the sport. Now, the first thing the strength coaches are going to think about is, well, yeah, but we can't do strength work. We don't have a barbell. We don't have a platform. We don't have weights. Okay, well, maybe this preparation period, because what we're good at is strength in the weight room. Like, we're all, I would hope, good at that. Like, and if we don't have that, what is the one underlying quality that all team sport athletes need to have in order to compete? How can we build a robust aerobic system that is going to allow them to adapt, evolve, and move forward? How can we do that without taking their power away, if you may, if that is even something that occurs? What are some ways that we can get the tissue to be able to be resilient? How can you progress that? How can you take a step back and say, okay, for example, the game of college basketball we know is 3 quarters, side to side and backwards. So does that mean we need to start right away and look at a change of direction and those things? Or should we be putting the tissue into situations where we can build resiliency, we can build tolerance, we can build strength and mobility or stability in those positions? We increase slowly the speed of the movement. We increase the intensity of the movement. And then when they come back, they are hopefully better prepared for what we're asking them to do. Now, while you sit there and you listen to this, it's probably something that you're like, well, yeah, that's probably what we should do. That's what we say we do. So we now have the unique ability to be able to reverse engineer all these sports that we're involved in, take a step back, and know, for the most part, of course, there's going to be some people that have access to more than others. There's going to be people that are in different areas that have more things open and available to them than others. But we can have our basics set. We can have the things that we deem to be the most important, so we can then progress them off those. This has been great to bring my sports medicine practitioner in with. So we could then break down all of these things. Because now he knows what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for, which he did for the most part prior. We've been working together for over 10 years, so this was a simple exercise for us. But if it's someone that maybe you haven't, this is an exceptional opportunity for you to sit there and talk with them so they understand that more. And then maybe some of the things that you've had conflicts with in the past, you're now able to review, and they tell you why, and you can show them why. And then you can bounce ideas back and forth. And now you're in a better situation than you've ever been. And if you're in a better situation than you've ever been, the athletes are in a better situation than they've ever been. We've brought in coaches from our staff on the outside that don't work with the team to have them audit it and move forward. And I say that we're still building this because we're still building this. Right now, if we're assuming that the chance of summer classes for where we are is slim to none, why am I in a huge rush to get them this program? Why am I in a huge rush to say you have to prepare right now for practice in September? Why don't we let them have a little fun while we do the building, while we do the work to get them into their actual preparation? Because I think we would all agree, if you need more than 8 to 12 weeks to get someone ready to practice, you may be doing a little bit of extraneous work that isn't quite as focused as necessary. So, that's what we've been doing, and that's what we've been building, and it's been really fun. And I think our next step from here is going to be to have it audited by people outside of where we are, and to hear people say, this is good, this is bad, this is indifferent, and really tear it apart. Because we have time, and we have the ability to do that. And if we have the time and we have the ability to do that, and we are unwilling to take a step back and let our ego go for a little bit, and let someone else tell us that we're doing something well, and then something sucks, again, all we're doing is hamstringing the development of the kids that we get to work with. In a time where there are so many challenges that are exceptionally difficult, I hope that you could find this one as a positive, as one that we can start to grow and get better and evolve. Because to me, I think that this is really a great opportunity for us to be better and for us to have our ability to reverse engineer the game turned up to level 10. Would love to hear how you're doing it. Would love to hear how you and your staff are working together. Would love to hear more about how this process is evolving for you. Because again, if we can share more about how we're doing these things, everyone is going to get better, which is only going to drive the profession forward. As always, guys, truly appreciate everything you do for us here at Central Virginia Sport Performance. We'll be back next week with another My Thoughts Monday. I will see you then.